Former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel might have missed out on a job inside the White House, but new reports say he will represent the Biden administration 6,000 miles away in Japan.
Yeah, WGN political reporter Taman Bradley is here with the latest on that development.
Ray and Micah, we knew Rahm Emanuel wasn't going to spend his retirement playing TV pundit. Reports out of Washington say the former mayor is President Biden's pick for a prominent international position. He's a shrewd political tactician whose resume includes the Bill Clinton campaign, Congress, White House Chief of Staff, and Mayor of Chicago. And at 61 years old, Rahm Emanuel is far from finished. He's reportedly set to step back into the spotlight as President Joe Biden's nominee for ambassador to Japan. Ivo Daalder is a former U.S. ambassador to NATO.
The people who have these jobs are known as the chief of mission. You are many ways are carrying, of course, out the interest of the United States in country, but then also helping to explain what the country where you serve wants from the relationship.
Rahm Emanuel is a polarizing figure. During the presidential transition, when his name was floated as a possible nominee for Biden's cabinet, the left sounded off. Change.org organized a petition, and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez slammed Emanuel on Twitter. The president ended up passing on him, but now it looks like Mr. Biden will send the hard-charging Democrat to Tokyo.
Japan would like to have people be ambassadors who are very closely connected to the president himself and have great stature. So we've had people like Vice President Mondale, like former Speaker Tom Foley, like former Senate Majority Leader Howard Baker, and Caroline Kennedy as ambassadors to Japan.
Emanuel may be controversial, but there's a push to find more people like him for ambassadorships after decades of U.S. presidents rewarding wealthy political donors with the jobs. Ian Hurd is an international affairs professor at Northwestern.
Sending your main donors on cushy ambassadorships is a pretty entrenched institutional tradition in the United States. It doesn't exist in any other country, really. But in the US, it's a big part of the practice. So if Biden is to break from that, I think he would be making waves of a different kind. So he might offend some of the donor class, but he might impress a lot of the regular folks who don't really think that public offices should be sold to the highest bidder.
President Biden has not yet nominated ambassadors to the large prominent posts around the world, so the White House is not commenting on the reports about Emanuel. Mike Enright.
Pretty interesting development, though. Taman, thanks so much.